Oh gosh.
Is my head too low? Do I need to fix the
Your head is
my
gone.
thing? Uh-oh.
Okay, I think I did it. Okay, I undid it.
I
Hello
think you had
everyone.
me zoomed in a little too much before.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, I probably did. Look, like I'm manipulating. Oh, how do I Hi everyone. This is a little janky. I don't know. I don't know how to make you bigger like that. Oh, here we go. Is this worse?
Oh, this
Better?
is good. I think this is better.
Okay. Oh, I gotta make sure that we're live. Oh, there we go.
Hey, everybody.
I don't see comments anywhere. Okay, got it. Oh my gosh, Discord is not behaving. Okay, we're good. Oh no, you're all janky in the corner.
Does YouTube let you trim this after?
Yeah, you can trim it. But oh gosh, but the people who are live get to suffer. Okay, okay. Hello everyone. This is kind of the not last minute. We kind of knew it was coming like days ago. It's just hard to dedicate time right now to get super prepared. I'm always semi prepared, I guess, because I'm always looking at Twitter, and that's kind of what we're gonna. Hi, Eric. That's kind of what we're gonna do tonight. Is just go over some stuff. Maybe we could talk first. I think I'll talk if people are interested. Not we'll give it a couple of minutes, but maybe we'll talk about Retro World if people are interested in that, and yeah, and then we'll get into some topics. A couple kind of conversation starter topics. Yeah. How was
Did you go
your?
both days to Retro World?
I did. I went the first day. It was like me and my friends that well, yeah. I have this one friend that went with me last year. Hey Belmont. Hey Roller Cook.
Hey, everybody.
I hope I'm. Oh God. Okay. Um. Yeah. So I had a friend that went with me last year or the last 2 years, and that he went with me again on Saturday. Um. And that was kind of the day that I got to interact with like Bob and people. Then the second day I was just with my son, so he doesn't like stuff like that. Like he wanted to check out the pinball machines, like they have a cool arcade. I'll kind of go. I guess we'll start now while people are coming in. Yeah, so Retro World is in Hartford. It's a convention. Yeah, I needed to figure out, Eric, a better situation to record audio in a room like that. That's a very strange place to need to record something. I mean, I actually last year I did the same thing. I recorded Bob's panel, and somebody commented like the audio was not good, and like why didn't you just get it from the panel? Like, dude, I don't like the audio, like the soundboard in the front. I'm like, dude, I don't work at Retro World. I can't just like plug stuff in to other people's equipment. I mean, I guess I could ask and figure it out ahead of time, but so I just do it with a little shotgun microphone that I put on the top. I just have to get either a better one or I don't
I
know.
thought it was fine. I
Yeah.
don't. You,
Well,
you mentioned that before you
I
uploaded it to
used
me.
so Bob. I actually had a conversation with Bob, and he told me about this software. I don't really do that much with audio, like I guess like VSTs, just like audio production stuff, like not just like making music, but like mixing and mastering audio stuff. I barely do stuff, and it sometimes doesn't sound good. But Bob was telling me that there's this software where it like helps you like de-echo a recording or denoise it. Like I don't know. Like he showed me the software, so I tried that, and that kind of helped a little bit. Like I don't know, not 100%. Not I wasn't super happy with it, but it's audible, and it made it the raw audio was just not good enough. So, but that took me a little bit to figure that out. So that's why it took so long for that. Um, yeah. So, Retro World is a local to me. It's like it's pretty close, less than half an hour for me to drive there. Retro convention in Hartford at the Hartford Convention Center, I believe it's called, something like that. And it's always nice. There's usually like I kind of think of it in different areas. Like, so the first area when you first walk into the actual hall, convention hall, is this giant room with all the vendors and art vendors too. Like, there's a lot of art vendors usually on like the outskirts, usually the outside, or like one specific areas for artists or sometimes like game developers, like all sorts of crazy people. Like I feel bad because I'm not necessarily in that niche. Like I don't really care that much about that stuff. So, but there's a lot of cool projects that people have and share and art and stuff, just whatever. So that's one part of it. Then the other is like just the giant vendor room, which is like not room, but I don't know. There's at least, I don't know. I made a video maybe 2 years ago of me walking around, and I don't know. It doesn't really give you the full scale of the room, but the prices are always crazy. Not always. I mean, you can find some deals, and I mostly care about hardware stuff, controllers, like consoles that I don't have that I can mod. I'm always looking out for that stuff, and this year I didn't buy anything. I bought a blue Type S controller because I didn't have one. I have a green one and a black one, but I never had a blue one. So
I haven't been to a retro convention. Are prices marked up higher than regular retail pricing?
Well, it's mostly for games. It's like, I won't say cringe because I'm sure people that are into collecting know it is bad. Like I don't like the people that want to collect can collect, and I don't really feel bad because they probably understand that it is what it is. But I just feel bad like seeing super high games that probably a couple years ago. Well, it depends on the console, but yeah, just the prices are for stuff that I'm nostalgic for. Like, I remember that game, like, or having that game or playing that game or something, and then it's like sitting in a case for like a couple $100 or something, like $400 or $500 or something. Like, oh god.
Yeah, I mean, I think I bought a Pokemon Crystal in 2018 for $20, for example.
Nice. Hey,
which
Taylor.
I feel like isn't even that long ago. Like the prices have gone up so drastically in very recent years.
And it's sometimes it is more stuff like complete in box that's more expensive. Like people bring a bunch of that stuff to the conventions, but like, oh, never mind, I did buy something else. What did I buy? I bought the I did buy two other things. Hold on a second. Definitely Unprepared. Do. Okay. Enhance. Okay, I bought a... Oh god, there's a cat hair on it. I bought a sweet Game Boy Pocket.
Nice.
This is just unmodded. So it works still. I mean, the screen is a little bit sus, but... Oh, my loops are dead. Oh, wait a minute. This is hard to... Yeah. Start.
I need to get one of those. I think the pockets are
This is the coolest form factor. So I also bought a color, and this is what I had when I was growing up. Not this color. Turn this off. I didn't have this color. I had the cyan one was my personal console color, but I bought another one of these because I am pretty sure that I want to do a MGCP or whatever. Put the Game Boy Color in the pocket. So that's what this is for. And it sucks to buy these at such high price, like $80 or whatever I bought it for. It hurts, but I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. I had never held a pocket, and this is definitely the coolest form factor. It's slimmer. I didn't realize it was slimmer really. I never really paid attention to people's videos about it. There's a big battery bump with the color versus the
in that corner.
Or, yeah,
the asymmetric part. I don't know. I enjoy it.
Well, the other
one.
Oh, did I mute? Okay. The other option is to just try to find a CPU, I guess, right, or find a motherboard for this, because I mean, this is in pretty good condition. I would hate to kind of just take the processor out of this, but I don't know.
Is that what you do for that mod? You got to transplant it?
Yeah,
it's a whole new board.
CPU. So yeah, you hold the board. Well, half a board. I think the pocket is two different subboards, like one on the bottom, one at the top, or something, and you something like that. And I think one of them is new and it has all the stuff on it. Okay. Yeah. What else? So there was the vendor area. Then there was, in the very middle is this actual wrestling ring, and they have these not fake, but like local wrestlers come and like put on a show. It's kind of interesting if you like wrestling. It's like right in the middle of the whole thing. And then the other side of the wrestlers is like a video game area. So what's actually cool is always I just got 2 pockets and 2 colors from eBay Japan for steel. One of the pockets is too bad, too much corrosion, taking out the chips. Yeah, that's good. See, that's what I was looking for, but no one really had anything beat up. So this was literally the cheapest that I found, cheapest Game Boy Color. But if I would just want the motherboard if it had the processor on it. Yeah, so it's cool. I guess you're collecting some beat up ones that deserve to be rehomed. So on the other side, so there's that classic Tetris, like World Championship Tetris or something like that. They have this tournament for the original Tetris for NES. They have these like regional tournaments all over the place, and there was a regional tournament at Retro World, which is pretty cool. So if you go in whatever day it was, you can watch the people compete, the local people compete. So that's pretty cool. Then there's a big section where you can play. They just have a bunch of consoles set up, all different generations and different types of TVs. There's a bunch of whack off-brand TVs that you just see plugged in normal consoles, plugged in composite. So it just makes my head hurt, like just looking at this whole area. But it's kind of neat how they, at least they're available for people to look at and play and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. They need a little upgrade. But then like the last big area, beside the YouTube little section, I'll come back to that. But they also have like pinball and arcade machines, so that's kind of cool. I got to play. I don't really care that much about pinball. I kind of do, like, got into it a little bit because my dad has one, and I was working on fixing that a couple years ago or a year or so ago. And so I kind of like look at pinball machines now. Like I kind of just would walk by them in the past, but so I got to play. What did I play? Mandalorian or Star Wars or something like that. I think it might have been Mandalorian. But there's a lot of cool pinball games, newer ones anyway. So, and then there's the little YouTuber area, which just this year was a little. The last 2 times, like the first time I went, Metal Jesus Rocks was there, which was pretty cool, and then and My Life in Gaming, they were there. They were there then, and then last year, but they didn't come this year. So there weren't that many people. There's Bob, Steve from Retrotech. And Lou, I think Lou, the Mr. Channel, I think Lou was there. I didn't say hi. I didn't know he was going to be there until I had already left. Otherwise I would have said hi, and I didn't recognize I was actually talking to him. So I talked to him, but I didn't say hi, which is just kind of awkward. But I showed him my Ashita. I brought my Ashita, and I have a cool. Steve actually made a video, so he was like merging 2 PVMs together at the convention on Bob's table, and that was kind of interesting. And the first time I walked to the tables where the people were, Steve was like ripping off the plastic. There's like a plastic coating on the front of the CRT, so he's just like ripping it off, and I got a cool shot of him like failing and ripping it in half instead. It's like just pretty interesting. So I don't know. It's hard to appreciate a convention by just somebody talking about it. Like it's just you got to go to one, and then you'll kind of. I could talk about it more, but it's not that. I don't know.
What was your favorite thing that you saw at Retro World?
My favorite thing that I saw. I mean, the pinball machines always make me happy. Like I don't know. I mean, that's just something that you don't get to see much in the wild. Like I don't travel to go play pinball games, so I always like that little arcade and pinball area.
Yeah, and it blows my mind how expensive modern pinball machines are.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's not something that's like
Yep.
attainable to own. It's one of
No,
those
they're
you
investments
want
as
to,
far as
like,
I'm concerned.
play. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's not like financial advice. Don't buy a pinball machine as an investment, but like it's 20 or like $15,000 to $20,000 for one of the higher end ones with all the bells and whistles. So yeah, it's a lot. But no, I always enjoy talking to the YouTube people too. Like that's something that I don't ever get to do locally because I'm not local really to anybody, and I don't. It's not an ideal place to like chit chat because I don't know. I feel like I'm taking up all their time if they just kind of like hover. So I kind of walk around and stuff. But yeah, that's a vibe that I always wanted to add more to my videos. Is like you're talking with the level that you're trying to. Well, sometimes you can get detailed in the like into conversations with like technical conversations about stuff, but I try to keep it like you're a friend and you're hanging out and you're talking about stuff. You're not like I'm not just talking to. I don't want to pretend that I'm just talking to thousands of people every single time. Like that's just not. I don't know. It doesn't really help me. So I'm thinking, how can I make this more like? So, but then it's always like, I don't know how to. I always want to talk to them like how you're doing, how you do this, like what should I be doing better? And like when I get there, I'm always just like, hey, I don't know. It's hard to describe, but and then I recorded the whatever. What is it? The panel. The panel is nice. It was Bob and Tito. Maybe I forgot to mention that Tito was there too. And they just kind of talk. The topic of the panel was best mods of 2023. I don't think they even covered that. Like I don't think they got that detailed. Like I think that Bob doesn't like to like he wants to keep it. Well, he does a Q&A at the end, so that's fine. Like if somebody asks a specific technical question, he'll answer it technically. But like in the beginning where they're just kind of talking, he usually tries to have more objective like conversations around things. So that's I guess that's the real reason they never really talked specific mods. So I don't know. How much modding did you do this year? I guess since last year. I don't know. Do you mod like?
Oh man.
Do you have a? See, it's easy for me because I can just go back and look at my videos for the last year, and I know what mods I did, or at least I'm at least up to date. Like I have knowledge of a specific. Hi, level 1.
This is not new, but I did a GC duel about a month ago.
Okay, yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Did you like?
I enjoyed
did you like
that.
it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I also.
That's the one where you have to cut a hole right in the back and like. Did you do that, or
Well,
did
you
you
don't-
print it? You 3D printed
Yeah,
the bracket?
I printed it. Yeah.
I
Reventless.
yeah. I wish I had that because I would have done that for sure.
Is amazing. It's so
Yeah.
good. So I did that. It actually wasn't that bad.
Hey, Red Herring.
So that was fun. I did. Well, I was just telling you before. I did a bunch of like Super Famicom cart translations
Oh
recently.
yeah, okay. Yep.
That's nothing new. But as far as like new stuff, like I think only Stellar.
Yeah. So you've done that already?
Yep. Yeah, I did a Stellar.
What
Man,
What are your
couple months
thoughts?
ago
What are your thoughts on it? Like just pretend that you are nobody and I'm a nobody and we're having a conversation about a mod that you just did, I guess. Like describe like how would you feel about it?
I haven't used it because I have like this solder blob I think that got somewhere I need to go
Oh.
and undo it.
Yeah.
Because I got it all installed, it all worked, and then I know I had
do you
something.
have a 1.6 or a 1.0 to 1.4?
I have a 1.0.
Okay. Yeah, those are finicky bastards. I didn't watch the Retro Tank video yet. I might get around to it tomorrow. I did watch Bob's. I also watched Bob. He put out a video today about a TV, and I thought it was interesting. Like I hope I'm not like I don't often watch other YouTubers. I really cut down a lot on YouTube in general across the board. Not because I don't like it, but I'm trying to put more effort into actually making videos and stuff. Like even more now than I used to, but it's just so difficult. Like it's hard for me to talk about not watching other people, but it's not like a personal thing. I don't have a lot of free time, and like when I do have free time, it's usually I don't want to put it like watch retro stuff. Like sometimes I do. It depends on what it is, but that's why I'm always tuned into you. Who said you? Oh, because you have a 1.0. Yeah, I think Red doesn't like 1.0s for some reason. Just upgraded your Mister. I saw Belmont. Did you got a? Was that you that had the aluminum case? The Mr. Add-ons one. So we can dive into the stories now. It looks like some people are actually here. Not like I was trying to eat time, but I was talking about
what have you got first?
I feel like I was just going to talk about something else.
Oh, you're asking about best mods of 2023.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know. There wasn't that many yet. I guess 2023 is still a thing. I guess
when did Pico Boot come out?
It was within the last year. I wouldn't say that that's bad. I mean,
I disagree. I think Pico Boot's amazing.
I didn't say it wasn't amazing, but is it the best? Pico Boot's good, and I was thinking about that, like at least a mention in the panel, but there weren't really. Zach, I think Tito answered he likes the Zaxor mods because those have been kind of popular. I don't. Those kind of like went from obscure, and then like I found it, and then it was just like everyone's like, "Yay, Turbo Nanza!" Like I'm glad. Like I don't think I did it. I think it was just the general retro community kind of pushed it up. But that was cool to see from him working on it, Zaxor working on it, and then all of a sudden it was like, "Hey, this is a cool thing that everyone wants," and that's. I think it must have also been the laser active work, like that also kind of helped Zaxor get more known. But it was like a good year for Zaxor, so that's why it was a cool shout out to Pico Drive, whatever it's called.
I know.
What?
I have a laser
drive.
active that I refurb with the help of Zaxor. It's almost done. It's not reading CDs right now, which is annoying and something I need to fix.
Hi, Kara. You're so okay. Hey, CO. You don't need to get into super detail. I just hope you're doing. I hope you're doing well. I was thinking about you last week, so yeah. Anyways, I'm not gonna get into that tonight, but okay. Let's transition, I suppose, into we're just gonna talk about retro modding news. This is kind of like an actual live version of what I normally record, just because I was not prepared. Usually I would have like a bigger topic. I guess the best mod of 2023. Okay, let me give my personal answer. I can't. I'm stuck on both my Retro Gem installs, and I still have more work to do. Well, it's a long story. I'm not gonna get into it. I still have a bunch of more work to do on my Project Stellar video. So it just sucks to not have either of those close to being done. It's like frustrating. So I can't answer either one of those because, well, I guess we could talk. Well, no, we can't talk about Retro Gem. We can. I mean, I'm just saying you don't have one, so it's hard to like, because I don't think anybody has them yet, or at least not the PS2 ones. Is what I'm specifically talking about. So that one might be mod of the year if I was successful doing it. I failed it twice now. This sucks. But not like just the flex cables got ruined. It's not like the whole mod was ruined. Although I think I might have broken my PS2 by one of my fats, so that's fun. Anyways, okay.
I need to get a Retro Gem for PS2, but
yeah.
I don't know what PS2 I want to install it in yet.
We can talk about that after we talk about this. I swear this is not a plug. Well, it is a plug, but it's not. I'm not sponsored by either of these people. Bonzo, I gotta fix your little thing here. Oh God, is it your? Okay, there we go. I'm fixing it. Bonzo is the proprietor of Bonzo's Retro.shop, and also Kaitor. So we'll start with this. This is the new version of Kaitor's enclosure for the open source cartridge reader, which is OSCR, but that's the Sani cart reader that I did a video on. So Kaitor has had a few of these revisions of this basically trying to really refine this version because I have another demo. I have demos all over the place.
I believe this is only his second version.
Okay, yeah. Well, no, there was like an initial one that I had, and then he made one public. So I've had that. So when you get a Sani, it doesn't have an enclosure, which is kind of a bummer. But it wasn't connected. It just killed itself. Yeah, so it's kind of annoying. There's a bunch of wires all over the place by default. I didn't cut the wires shorter. That's why they're kind of puking out of the front here. But so Kaitor's little enclosure here just kind of seals it all up. So what's the Sani cart reader? It is a cartridge reader that will work with NES, the Famicom, Super Famicom, and Super Nintendo, N64, everything. Mega Drive. Just it works with like a lot of consoles.
Master System, Game Boy.
Dumping ROMs from games that you own. So a really cool tool that everyone should have. And I'm not like sponsored by anything. Literally just trying to say that it's a cool thing, especially if you have a collection. I'm actually, honestly, I do not have that big of a collection of physical games, Super Nintendo games, or any kind of cartridge-based games. So if you want to use your carts and you already also have a flash cart or are thinking about getting a flash cart, then you pretty much need something like this. It doesn't have to be this, but I found this was really handy. I don't know how much do you actually use. I'm putting you on the spot, Ponzo. Do you actually use your cart reader that often?
No, I don't. But what I use it for is, I don't use it that often because the main problem it solves is, I want to replace the battery in a cart, and I need to back up the save before I do that. And so it's like I don't need to do that often.
Yeah.
But I had a Retro.
Sean, Amy, or whatever. I see you.
Retros are. The Retro, I think the Retro 2 is the newest one. They're so expensive, and they're not even in stock that often.
Yeah.
So I had a Retro with a couple attachments, and it was, a lot of money.
Yeah. Yeah, so speaking of money, if you don't have your own 3D printer, Kaitor actually has his own shop. And I don't have an affiliate link or anything. I don't think there's an affiliate program, but I figured I would tell you at least still that I don't have an affiliate program for Kaitor because he usually sells this right on his store because he 3D prints these himself. So if you don't have a printer but you want these new shells, you can head on over. If I remember, I'll try to add all these links in the description of this VOD for the future, or just yell at me on Twitter or something if you want me to send you the link. But you can specify the colors, so you can actually he's got some kind of fancy dual color printer, 3D printer. So if you want it to be the secondary color to be different, or I think actually it's just, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure how the numbers work, but if you don't get a second color, do you not get the letters? Probably not. It's probably
So sorry, just to interrupt real quick. He has a bamboo X1 carbon, by the way.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I figured it was something fancy.
If you get the two color ones from him, they're not colored on the sides. It's just indented. So if you look at the under NES, where it says Game Boy.
Yeah, like this IO thing.
Yeah, so the whole shell will look like that if you don't get any colors, where it's just kind of indented.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Nice. I forgot to mention too that it also includes a dust cover. Well, it doesn't include it. It's an extra cost if you're gonna have him make it, but it is designed to have a dust cover if you're gonna keep this out or something. Have this cool.
The dust cover is new as well. His version before didn't have a dust cover, so it's awesome to see one.
So I guess along with that, I guess I'll plug Bonzo. Also not a sponsor or anything, though it doesn't pay me or anything to say this, but he does have some kits, both kits, and I suppose you could order a pre-assembled one. Do you have pre-assembled ones, or you kind of do it as you go with assembled kits?
Yeah, I do it all to made to order.
So I guess I'll just tweet it, or not tweet it. I mean, put it in the comments here. So again, not affiliated or anything, just trying to help Bonzo out. Cart readers, those are the actual kits. So you can buy the hardware, all the hardware that you need here. Either if you want Bonzo to assemble it for you, or just put it together yourself. afterward. It is some effort. I have a video. Do I have a video? I think I have a video of me. Yeah, I have a video of me actually installing it. So it's not that bad. And then
The newer version is a little bit different.
Oh, okay.
There's
Oh yeah,
now,
okay. That's right. I have an older version. I have a version 3, right? 3? 2?
there's like hardware
Oh, yeah, revision
versions,
5.
and then there's revisions for the hardware.
Right, so I have a
this
hardware
is hardware
5, revision 2 or 3 or something
You
before
have-
the
you have 3.
real time clock. 3. Okay.
I think so. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So this is the latest hardware. So that's the other. I don't know if this is a bummer. Like, what do you think about the different iterations of it? It makes it kind of hard to stock. Does it make it hard to stock everything, or is it kind of like only once in a while that you have to really change?
I think it's only once in a while. I mean, I
Yeah.
know the project is
Assemble
going
me, please.
towards,
What the heck?
working off of a Pico. I think is the next big target.
Okay, so then I'll put
But
the
yeah, it's not too
Kaitor-
bad. So the new thing is, with the newer boards, it's kind of annoying because the V select, where the voltage switch goes away and it just automatically selects the voltage for you, depending on the cart
Yeah,
type.
that's a cool feature that I wish I had in mind, but
That's pretty cool. And there's a real-time clock, which is just for accurate timestamps on the files that get dumped. So like if you dumped it, now September 10th, it would say September 10th instead of I don't know what it said before.
okay, that's cool. So you can kind of
Yeah.
get the age of when you did the save. That's kind of
Yeah,
handy.
so those components that you add on are tiny, like SMD things that you wouldn't like to do by hand, but if mine come pre-soldered on, so everything
Got
is
it.
pretty easy to put together beyond that.
Okay, that's enough of the plug. So you can also download them on printables too. If you have a 3D printer, you don't have to buy the files or anything. Thankfully, Kaitor has released them for free, but it's oh, look at that, commercial use. So if you wanted to print them for commercial use, you could, which is kind of cool. So
Yeah, which is how I sell them, but
yep.
Just-
What are you going to include a bundle ever here, or did you want
what
to?
do you mean?
Oh, you do enclose. So does that count? What happens? Oh, okay, do you print on demand too? Wow, I did not see that. So you can never. You don't have to. Well, I would recommend if you want to support Kaitor to buy it from Kaitor. However, if you somehow don't want to support Kaitor, oh my god, I'm making this. I'm not a salesman. I'm sorry. You can
No.
it together.
No, if you're gonna buy a kit, buy the kit from me and buy the
That's-
enclosure from Kaitor. Give that guy some money.
Yeah.
He won't let me give him any money, so please just buy from him and give him money.
Just
But if
delete
you
this
buy
button from your
but if you're gonna buy an assembled one, like I understand. You can get one of those from me, and I wouldn't expect somebody to want to buy an assembled one and then swap out the shell. So
Yeah. Okay.
it's all
Got it.
good. But yes, amazing
cool.
work by Kaitor.
Yeah, it looks great. It's something that I feel like my Sandy kit is like a literal box. Like it's just an unfinished box of parts because I I don't have I didn't get around to doing the enclosure yet. So maybe I'll have to buy one. I'll have to buy one from Kaitor. Okay, so yes, we have the FPGA people in the chat. Mars FPGA has joined the chat. Who wants to talk about this monstrosity? I hope CO is still here, and I hope that Red Herring has something to say. So anyway, so you probably heard from other people. Maybe you've actually, I don't know. Has anyone put out a video about Mars FPGA other than them? Well, I think Mad Little Pixel might have talked about it, but just the concept of next gen Mister. It's not Mister because it's not based on Mister. I don't think. Maybe it is. Maybe it is based on Mister. I don't know. I'm not sure if the code base is based on it or not, but we know it's at least more advanced somehow, technically more powerful than the DE10 Nano Mister. I can imagine that they would probably want to reuse the Mister name if we ever moved from DE10 Nano. That doesn't seem like they wouldn't want to do that, right? So like you could still call your Mars FPGA Mister. Or are people gonna be upset at that? I don't know. It's not a DE10 Nano or a Mister.
I
It's
think
a
they're different
Mars.
things, right? They might accomplish the same
Well,
task, but
yeah. Well, what I've heard about this, other than this is a Dreamcast core or whatever, not Dreamcast, but the Naomi arcade hardware Dreamcast running. Like we don't know if this is just captured from a Dreamcast or whatever. This is just like a little demo. This could come from anything. So it's not I'm not really putting a lot of faith in this, but that would mean if this is running, well, oh man, I really wish I had like Red Herring or CO in the chat, because they would probably agree with me that I don't. Well, okay. So anyway, that's just Mars. We don't really know that much about it. Mars FPGA. We do know that it's some kind of. We can actually scroll. Is this risky? This is probably super risky. Okay, I'm just scrolling Twitter here. Hopefully, there's nothing crazy. So here's kind of a screenshot. I think that we know somewhere what type of FPGA it uses. At some point, I'm just scrolling forever now. Oh, here we go. New emulation news. This guy, read-only memo. I don't know. Now I'm just scrolling Twitter on YouTube. That's what I'm doing now.
does Mars? Do they have a projected release date, or
I don't know.
has anybody like seen anything?
I don't know.
Closed doors or anything?
Well,
Okay.
no, I do think that there are developers that might have something, a dev board maybe, or some ability to develop for this, because I mean, obviously, if they were showing off that Naomi hardware, they would have to have some kind of, I don't know, dev board working or something. And I see pictures of dead boards. That doesn't mean they exist and they're working, but okay, so I'm done. Basically, all I wanted to bring up with the Mars FPGA thing is just this idea of maybe we're gonna get some kind of a next gen, because I guess the rumor is it's supposed to do 4K, might be able to do 4K 60 output. So that'd be cool, kind of in line with all the new retro scalers, but that would probably mean expensive. So then the other thing I wanted to talk about was this other thing I saw. I don't know either of these projects that well, Mars and this Extreme FPGA hardware, but I think it looks neat. It's kind of like currently it's kind of a Mr. case, right? Kind of like Mr. Add-ons case, or like the Mr. Multi-System, where you kind of get your D10 Nano and you slap it onto one of these kind of like I/O boards, and then it has different I/O broken out. Oh, CPS3, yeah. So anyways, so this is like, I thought the PCBs are cool, but then I saw the actual case, the enclosure, and it was like, I mean, it's just a gray box, but I don't know. It was cool. I like the layout. I like how the videos are on one side. I like how the Ethernet's in the back, and then the USB. These are also snack ports. So if you have snack stuff already, you can just use your snack plugs right in the front. So I just like the layout of it. But it's supposed to be future compatible with Mars FPGA. So I'm not 100% sure if that means that Mars FPGA is going to be the same size as a D10 Nano, or somehow the I/O lines up. I don't know. Look at that shot. That's cool. I like this white.
Are these out yet?
No, I don't think. There's pre-orders for this board. So this board will work right now if you pre-order it with Mr. But they're kind of expensive. I mean, it's not crazy. Well, 279 euros is probably what, almost $300. But it comes with a lot of things. It comes with all these different snack adapters, and this power supply, and these looks like some direct video output or cords maybe. I'm not 100% sure. I'm not sure if it includes a Mr. or a D10 Nano. I mean, that would be kind of silly. So that's why I was confused when I first saw it. Oh, whoops. Oh, plus it's JAMA. So I think it's supposed to be like for, reverse consoleizing an arcade cabinet, like putting a Mr. in an arcade cabinet. But I mean, it doesn't have the same vibe as like the Mr. arcade or whatever the project is from Mr. add-on. So it's like a straight board that you kind of just like leave inside of your cabinet, and then you can plug your Mr. into it. But this seems like it's supposed to be more for like an event. Like, okay, I'm going out to my whatever fighting game tournament, and like I'm bringing I'm bringing four of the same, because it can output four different video outputs at once, so you can connect a bunch of different systems and screens and things at the same time. I guess that's what I would think. But hey, Ryan, how are you doing? How's the new website doing, or how's the transition to Rondo? I noticed the Twitter handle is still Castlemania. Are you trying to keep both still? Just I don't know if you're still listening, but okay, we can move on from this Mr. stuff. People probably tune out, but I thought it was pretty cool. Just ideas of new potentially 4K and even better consoles.
I still need to get a Mr. So I'm excited for
what's coming
for this kind of news. Yeah. And there's the Mr. add-ons project. I forget what it's called.
Yeah, the new one, Mr. Express.
Yeah, is that what the?
It's the V2. Like I would say of his new. Yeah, the version 2 of the aluminum shell. Well, it's a complete It's like a console. More changes the form factor a little more than the I/O board that was the original stacked aluminum case thing. Oh, cool. So, yeah, okay. Oh, we'll just move on. I'll probably talk about more Mr. related stuff in my monthly video. So, yeah. Okay, so I noticed that Bordy is back. Or maybe he stopped tweeting for a while and came back. But he's tweeting about his N64 Advance 2, which is his open source N64 HDMI mod. So it looks like it's up and running. Looks like it has some cool, some like debug hearts, like the Pixel Effects interface. So this is obviously it's an OSD, and then you get this kind of check on your install after you're done with it, and some other settings you can change. So I don't know if this is new information, but he like came back and didn't say anything, and there was a screenshot. So I was like, yay, maybe it's new.
Do you know where this project got left off? Because I swear I heard about this a long time ago. Maybe not that long ago.
It's finished as far as I know. I think this is probably just a firmware update, but the hardware is finished as far as I know. But I don't think anyone has sold it yet.
Is this a part shortage situation where nobody has been able to make one?
Well, at the time that this came out, the N64, actually, the Ultra HDMI V2 was kind of around already, and N64 Digital was around. So it was kind of the fact that there were already other N64 mods that were semi-available, mixed with the fact that it's not an easy DIY situation. So like it's not easy for... it's not probably super difficult, but I do think that there are some hard parts to hand solder. You could have it soldered for you, I suppose, but it's just hard. It's just not as easy as some of the other mods to get into. Plus, more recently, we had the Gamebox N64 stuff. So the parts were unobtainium. Oh, okay, maybe that is. I didn't know. I didn't look into it beyond. It was difficult. I was like, okay. Or it was not going to be simple as you know, I don't know. So yeah, I don't know if this means he's back working on firmware or but I just want to give a shout out to Bordy because I haven't seen or talked about him for a while. So yay, Bordy.
Yeah, he puts out a lot of great work that everybody builds on and stuff. So the more the merrier. We love mods and options.
Yep. Okay, so this was kind of interesting. Leon posted that the 2600 RGB kit from well, this is, you're not going to be able to see it.
Tim Worthington?
Yeah, from Tim Worthington is probably end of life in its current form. It says, if you can't read the tiny print, it says the 2600 RGB, which is the NES RGB, but for the Atari 2600, is out of stock and is no longer economically viable to manufacture in its current form. It's due for a redesign, but currently don't have any estimate on when it'll be ready. So I don't know if this is high on many people's priority lists, but I do feel like the Atari could use some love as far as RGB mods. And Tim Worthington's mods usually just go forever. He just never updates them. Well, the NES RGB got a bunch of updates, but Um, yeah, I don't know. Just I want something new from Tim Worthington. Not like he has to do something new, but I just feel like the world would be more complete if he made something else.
So I haven't done this mod, or I haven't watched any content. I don't know much about it. But what I have done
Hey,
are
Akiam.
the UAV Universal Atari Video. I think I got that right. Mods. They're
Oh
S
wait.
Video.
Oh, hold on. We'll come back to this.
Oh, okay.
The N64 is a V2. How did I not realize that? So this is N64 Advanced version 2. So this is a new design. Wow. Ryan in the comments. I didn't put it together. I thought this might just be a new. It could be a new firmware version for sure. It could be the same hardware, just different firmware version, but it could be new hardware. So that'd be cool to actually see a board. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to
Oh, it's all good.
interject.
But the UAV mod for Ataris, it fits more systems than just the 2600.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what it fits, but it's a lot of them.
Hmm.
And the S video outputs is really nice looking. So
Yeah, I
if you
didn't. I
have
never
an
heard of
Atari
that
and you're
before.
looking to do a mod,
Was it,
try it out.
did you mention it? You mentioned it in the Discord, right? Like I never heard of that until somebody mentioned it.
Yeah, it was me.
So yeah, I'll have to look into that. Both of the Atari. So I think the very first mod that I did was the N64, or no, the NES RGB. I did that. So then I was like, okay, I actually completed that and it worked. So I was like, okay, let me do the Atari 2600 Atari RGB because I really wanted an Atari at the time. And I ruined the console. I was and this is like brand new soldering. So the problem is those boards like 70s era boards. The actual copper like comes off of the board really easily, and the traces just get all messed up and things. So it's very difficult to work on if you're a newbie. I haven't touched it since. And actually, both of my motherboards, I ruined 2 motherboards actually. I bought another Atari to try to record the video still, or do the mod or something, and I ruined the second one too the same way. So I sent them both to Red Herring. The Red Herring has both of my messed up Ataris to try to do an open 2600. So that's the. So I just haven't thought about Atari RGB mods and stuff, but that's cool. I would probably think about the UAV or something like that. So stop making the
Right out. I think they're a
2600.
little bit cheaper too, which is nice.
Oh, okay. Yeah, interesting. Is it just go to S video?
Yeah, it'll do S video and composite video,
Gotcha.
so you can, hook up a whatever.
Do I need
DIN,
another Atari?
like a 9. You could do a 10 DIN, I guess, or a SNES style multi-out.
Yeah, I'm kind of over. Oh, I don't know if I actually put this on my. Do I see a? I don't. Okay, the Real Phoenix. I'm gonna give a shout out to Real Phoenix, and I don't have a picture. Real Phoenix implemented Bordy's NES IO replacement. It was a replacement power board, but that was like the first project that I ever was aware of that gave you the ports in the console. So like I think it was the NES RGB port though, the Mini DIN 8, which is a really unfortunate connector. I kind of don't really like the connector that much, but anyway, so it was. Oh no, it was a Genesis 2. So basically, you had to desolder the whole power board, and then you put this new power board in it, but it has a spot for the Genesis 2. So that's the NES IO. That was the first time that I had ever seen an NES console with the ports inside of it all in one thing. Then I just saw recently that he made some kind of an adapter thing that's a multi-out on one end. So it's like it's trying to get into the idea of like no cut, like true no cut NES, like not actually cutting an NES. So you do the power board replacement on the front loader, and then you have, I believe it was like the 8-pin. No, it was like the Sega Genesis, but there was something. So like you plug this other little adapter over it, so you don't like actually straight plug the Genesis cable into the NES. You plug this thing on top of it, like it converts the Genesis to the multi-out. It's like, I thought that was kind of cool. I mean, it's another dongle that's gonna break, but I thought that was a cool way to kind of get around it, having to cut a console ever. But you don't have to worry about that if you buy the new shells, because they have a cutout pre in there that you can punch it out to put a multi out. So that's another option if you really want to do no cut. But Mako just did a video on a funny playing Game Boy Color FPGA replacement. Holy cow. What does that mean? I didn't know Funny Playing made FPGA boards. What?
Me neither.
We're gonna check that out.
Also,
hey,
that,
Leon.
Sean,
Leon is here.
Sean had mentioned that it's better to play a 2600 on a 7800 with the game drives and the RGB out.
It's better to play. Oh, okay, that makes sense. So it's like the okay, like the Crix. What the heck? I never remember the name of that thing. The thing for the stacker, the little stupid stacker thing for the Famicom. Yeah, the RGB output.
I forget what it's called, but
Yeah.
it's a flash cart that has RGB out. Built
Yeah, that's
into
the
it.
game drives. Yeah, so I agree. I think that's a good way. Plus you get a 7800, you know. So, yeah, no, Leon, I was saying that I just had difficulty when I was a noob. Not to say I'm not still probably a half noob at soldering, but I failed installing the mod. Retro HQ. They're the brand. That's the yeah. Okay, I definitely want to look. What I really need is someone like Castlemania to make replacement 72-pin connector. Yeah, you know what's funny? At the convention that I went to, I saw a blinking light win in the package, and it was like $150. That person was like, yeah, I'm gonna just own somebody. I don't think they were that much. How much is the blinking light win? Like 40, maybe. That made me hurt. Saw one in the package. Yeah, I agree. I don't even think the blinking light win is a good solution either. I mean, it's better, I suppose, in some cases, but it also has really bad death grip, and if you have an EverDrive only, it just makes it impossible because you're not. I guess the idea being that you'll break it in over time using different carts and stuff, that it will probably work its way loose. But I had never taken my flash card out, so I just found it was too hard because then I have to really pull on it. So that's just my gripe. I have one installed in that OpenTendo, but yeah, I agree. It can't be that difficult to manufacture one of those, right? It's just metal pins, a little PCB thing. I don't know. Displace gamers. That's cool. We have to check out the funny playing thing afterwards. So let's keep running through. So that's kind of a shame. I don't know how long it's going to be until we get something new from Tim in regards to the 2600. But yep, just something I thought about. 2600 is an Atari. I'm sorry. Okay, just reading tweets now. Okay. I guess we'll shout out to Todd. They're still working on their high quality composite video cables for anybody who's still there's some hardcore composite enthusiasts, probably among Red Herring at least is a hardcore composite enthusiast. So what these are like, when I first got into retro, the only cable type really that was widely available was the retro axis SCART cables, and they use really high quality, it's like Italian, like some fancy shielded coax cable. It's very fancy, it's very thick. I have them in a box and I was too lazy to go get it, but they make these really high quality, very well shielded cables for stuff like SCART. But this, I think this is going to be kind of like that, but for composites. So I could think of people like right now there's only going to be two different types of these that are going to be available. The Sega Genesis 2, which is pretty good. That is in a lot of that port is used in a lot more projects than I think most of the other stuff is. And then the it says NEC, so I'm assuming that it's just the TurboGrafx. I'm not sure which one, the fat one, Duo/Graphics. I don't know. Oh wait, am I reading this wrong? I don't know. Will be available for Genesis 2 and NEC, so Duo/Core Graphics. Oh, okay, I'm reading it super wrong. So if you have the black PC engines, the core graphics that will work, or a Duo. So, but I think this whole idea, and I think this is supposed to be a series of cables. So, the one that I probably would like the best is probably one for the NES. I know it's just a male to male, but I think that would just be nice to have. Or, I don't know. I actually have. Hold on a second. Never mind, it's trapped in my web of cables over there. But I have I think it must be an OEM original Xbox composite cable, and it's like, that thing is diesel, so I have a lot of nostalgia for just the simple composite cables, but I don't really have a place in my setup for one. But I suppose you could make a crazy matrix output thing with the Xtron if you had both composite and component. If you had enough ports, you probably could just have both cable versions available, and you could just actually, no, you could do, that's a lie, you could do composite over SCART. See, can't do composite with HD Retrovision cables. SCART wins. I don't know.
But what you can do is you can do S-Video you breakouts into your Xtron, and then you can type it into your RetroTink 5X, because now it supports S-Video over component, is it? No, I forget. Not S-Video. It's not the S-Video port that it supports S-Video over. Maybe that
I think I know what you're talking about, yeah.
I think it was the 5X.
Ryan, yeah, you could just get HD Retrovision cables for the NES, but then you have like what? Four cables just hanging out? Or no. 1, 2, 3. No, 1, 2. So you'd have 3 cables. Just no, I mean, it's fine. Those are cheap enough too. I really like them. I had to pick up another one of those male to male cables because I don't even know where it is. I'm just pointing to things in my room. Now for the Xbox, hold on a second. I'm thinking the Xbox XO SVP. There's so many things to think about. Okay, the XO SVP, the Xbox component output thing that I use a lot. So that just ends with RCA component broken out, and I just have the male to male to my Xtron. So 8 sets, yeah, right. I kind of miss SCART. I mean, I don't really miss the connector that much, but I just miss. There's nothing better than getting. There was nothing better because I don't do that much anymore. But there was nothing better than getting a new retro access cable in the mail, because the package is just like, I don't know. It's like smells like cable. It just smells really good. I don't know. It's just hard to describe. Don't judge me. But so I kind of miss that. But okay, we can move on. What are your thoughts on? Have we talked about your thoughts on component, or I guess HD Retrovision cables versus SCART?
I feel like I came to retro late enough to where I kind of missed SCART entirely, and I just started buying HD Retrovision stuff.
Do you feel like that's the case? Like at a certain point, people will just stop buying SCART. Like if you were new enough, you probably just go component.
I think it's easier. I mean, I got a CRT that has component input too, so
yep.
You know, I can throw it from my Xtron into my TV.
Even BNC is not hard to adapt, which is nice.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know. That's the vibe I get that most people did. There's nothing wrong if you buy a good SCART cable, of course.
No, I
mean, whatever works for you.
If I had enough room,
I think that was easier.
Or if I had a dedicated console area, I might have all my retro consoles, as many as I could anyways, connected with retro access cables. Like they're really good. I think they're actually thicker than, actually, let me look at that before I say anything. No, they're probably about the same thickness. I'm just looking at the HD Retrovision cables. I don't have a good solution for managing this stuff, and I'm hoping that Infinity Switch will solve that in the future. So my Xtron, I have all the cables pouring out of it from the top here. It's kind of annoying because it's like if something happens, I have to move everything, and then these cables are just big and bulky, and this is a standing desk, and if stuff's in the way, like I gotta, I don't know, organize that better. I guess I like HDMI stuff. I think most people probably would if they could choose, but.
Oh, we're well on our way. It seems like there's going to be HDMI for a lot of consoles coming out soon. So
and
great.
Just hopefully this Infinity Switch, too, because hopefully that's not vaporware. I have some amount of trust that it's going to happen, but I know that the morph is probably more important to get out and be D-terminal. Yes. Yeah, it's just interesting to think. Well, I think that a lot of people wanted Sega, the Saturn, the Mini Din 10, the one true port, to just be on everything. That would probably solve actually a lot more problems than, well, I don't know, because then you have just one loosey-goosey cable. Like, how do you support that? But technically, or like in a space-saving way, Saturn male-to-male would probably be the easiest. Would it be male-to-male? Yeah, it would be male. Yeah, going in both. But then you'd have to change everything. Like, you'd have to have I don't know, maybe some kind of a Sega Saturn to component or something, I guess, breakout, some kind of a breakout. But yeah, it's smaller. It was only one physical connector versus the bunch of. Okay, so we'll move on. It's fun to rant though. Okay, I wanted to. This is kind of topical because if you want to do a retro gem, which by the way, I know I brought it up. I talked about it earlier, but I'm struggling to install both. I'm not struggling to install Project Stellar, but that video is just taking a long time. I'm struggling with Retro Gem. I do not know how anybody. Well, okay. I had problems with it, and I kept blaming it on like, oh, I got a weird console or something. But it's a skill issue for sure. Like, I'm just not great. Like, it's been a while since I've installed flex cables on anything, or like that kind of flex cable. So it's pretty much like the Dream. DC digital, N64 digital, PlayStation 1 digital. Those three are like, I probably would say the most difficult, but also available mods. And now it's all going to be one. Well, different flex cables, but yeah, you get the point. Those are all like on the same level of difficulty. The PS2 gem, I feel personally it's more difficult because there are pins on every side, or three sides of the chip. So it's not like the N64, which kind of just goes right into the front of the pins. The PS1, I think, was kind of the same way. I don't remember. It's been a while since I've thought about that one. But I hope it doesn't discourage people, but I found it a little more difficult because you have to line up pins on three of the sides, and it's very, like, it's less than millimeter accuracy. Well, the pin pitch is legit like half mil or something like that, the pin pitch on the chip, but it's just the fact that you also have to line it up on three different sides. So it's hard. This is the most difficult one, and I still haven't got it right. So I'm waiting for Dan to send me a replacement flex cable, so I can try that again. But I nuked this PS2, but I have another one coming. So this is my life. It's struggling. I don't know why I thought it was so difficult, but not like it's just hard. It's hard to describe unless you're doing it. And I don't have the video to like show you that it's hard. But so anyway, so this is topical because the REPSX, whatever, this replacement power supply is kind of required if you're doing a fat PS2 gem, the 50,000 series, I think, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe it's the 3900 or whatever. If you're doing the 3900 series, you need either the PSU from a 50,000 fat, or you need one of these. So, but the only problem about these is these are like, if you need everything, because it's sort of like it's a replacement power supply. So let's click on the. Oh, never mind. This is the one for the PlayStation 1. Never mind. Let me see. Do they have any of the PS2 ones? Well, before I move on, actually, like, look at the price. This, I don't even think. Oh, does this include? Oh, it does include the power brick. I mean, even. Well, okay. It's a lot of money. Oh, did my camera just die? Oh, I know why. Hold on, I gotta get a USB adapter.
Just for some real-time follow-up, you only need the PS2 power supply if you have a 5,000 fat PS2, by the way. Oh, sorry, it's the 39,000, and yeah, or the power supply from a 5,000.
Well, I guess this is the dead camera stream. No, I forgot to plug my. Oh, look at that! It lets me connect it. Thank you, Sony, for letting me run it off the USB. So never mind. I thought this was the PS2 one, but this is the PlayStation 1 one. Unless it works with both, or am I thinking about a different thing? I don't know. Oh, okay. This is the PS1 one. You need the PS2 one if it's different. So maybe it's called the Re-PS2.
Yeah, Re-PS2. I pulled up the docs here. It looks like you only need the Re-PS2 if you're installing it into a 39,000 fat model, which is the earliest model support.
Never mind. Get this tab away from me.
Or it sounds like you could just grab a 50,000 power supply and throw it in.
Yeah, but that's also difficult, though. You basically have to have another console. Well, I don't know. You're going to walk around with some guy with a 50,000 PlayStation 2 power supply in his back pocket? Well, yeah, I don't know.
My 1.0 Xbox was not working when I bought it, and I bought a replacement power supply on eBay.
Did you do the change the capacitors out? Or did you just...
Yeah, I did.
It didn't work? The problem with Xbox, and you probably should... Well, never mind. You have a new power supply, it sounds like, for that. What I would do is, if you still have it, go back and check. And this is sort of a PSA for anybody who has an original Xbox. Probably more so the first couple of generations, like a 1.0 or 1.1, whatever, 2, like that generation. Check for cold solder joints around where you plug the AC cord into the Xbox, because on a 1.0 I had, it would like spark and stuff. It would not be good. So you really do want to, if you have one, first thing you should do is take care of the super capacitor, if you've got one, or no, if you don't have a 1.6. But there's new techniques even for the 1.6. You can get replacement 1.6 capacitors, or Red Herring has a some kind of a wiring diagram so that you can bypass the cap altogether. So you can even remove it on a 1.6 with an asterisk. Oh, what was I going to talk about? Shoot, I forgot what I was going to say. All right, let's just move on. That was a fail. All the PSUs can have this issue. Yeah, okay. So check your damn power supply. That's what I was talking about. Check your damn power supply for cold joints. There's two big joints, like two big vias on right where the big connector connects with the whatever the thing, the figure 8 cord is what I call it. I'm sure there's some name for that type of cable, but and the super cap. So, all right, I'll shut up about that. It do be like that. I don't even know what that's. Thanks, Belmont. I think Belmont's got my back. Okay, I wanted to. Oh, battery exhausted. Oh no, my battery is exhausted. Wait a minute.
Did your camera shut off?
Wait a minute. Let's see if I can do this. I gotta take the battery out. Is this gonna work? Oh gosh. Why did I do this? Okay, forget it. We're doing it blind now.
Uh-oh.
If this is really how it's gonna be, I'm just gonna play Baldur's Gate. Stream it. Okay. All right, we'll just move on. That was a fail. I was gonna talk about that PSX thing, but it was the wrong one. Okay, so let's talk about consoles for you and ManCloud and Zoenergy. I guess they decided to stop working on. I feel like I talked about this SNES HD, their HDMI mod, a long time ago. Oh, here it is, December 15th of last year. So that's nine months ish ago. But I guess. I don't know. There was a couple of projects. It wasn't just Pixel Effects' Gem tweet, but there was a couple of PS2 projects, or no, Super Nintendo projects that were like HDMI solutions. So I kind of feel I feel bad for them. Well, no, that's not. So here's the realistic answer. I'm glad. I'm glad for them. If they decided to move on to something else, because they didn't want to do it anymore, or just they didn't think it was worth it, that's fine. Like I'm sad that I'm sure their dreams kind of got squashed a little bit if they put down a project, but as a person who makes content all the time, and I struggle with stuff, and I feel like I have a problem where I can't stop. I can't stop, even though maybe I'm not the greatest, content maker. Just put that out there. I don't know. I don't really feel like that I'm that good, but I just can't seem to quit. Like it's like an addiction. Just reading all the new mods and stuff and getting hyped for what's coming out soon. I don't know. I'm in that hype cycle, and so for them actually being able to make a decision to not do something is like, it's kind of courageous. So
I'm sure those guys have other projects that they could be working on too, so it's more of an opportunity.
Well, this is consoles for you. They actually have their store, so. But
right, which is like, while it would be nice to have another option out there. If they can go work on something else that maybe is missing and there is no alternative for it, that's probably a better use of their time. So I totally get it.
And who knows if there was any actual progress? They could have just not made that much progress. I'm not. I think they would have mentioned it if they had a decent amount, but still, it's difficult to. Thanks, Belmont. Appreciate it. Can't stop, don't stop. Yeah, I mean, I think, I guess this is kind of real talk. I feel like I would probably stop making videos just to stream more. I don't know if it would be like this. It might be like this, like talking about modding news, or it might be more like My Life in Gaming style, where I do something else. Like it might be, I could try to work on a setup where I can mod with the overhead and then come back down and sit. Or I was kind of thinking about like maybe moving the camera over there, but like this wall that you can't see behind me and like my desk is like, I'm very cluttered and it doesn't really look that good on the camera versus that side of my room, which is also cluttered, but it looks halfway decent. So just kind of thinking about that in the future, like what would I do? Did you hear about the PS5 having an almost fully functional jailbreak? So Nano, I'm pretty sure, because I would have to think that the people who know the most about the exploits, or who are on the cutting edge of the exploits, I'm pretty sure they don't give away every single exploit that they find, right? So I know that like with bug bounties and things, like usually hardware manufacturers and companies, they have these bug bounty reward systems. So if you find a vulnerability in their stuff, and there's like a certain process you have to reach out to them and say, hey, I found this vulnerability. There's all different ways that people handle that situation too. Like, do you kind of like say, hey, if you don't handle it by this point, then I'm going to release it publicly? Because that's kind of like a dare. You're kind of forcing their hand. But there's also people that will try to get the bug bounty, like the money. So they'll let the company know. They'll give them all the details about how to fix it. There'll be a patch, and then only months and if not years later, you'll find out that there was an actual vulnerability that was fixed. So it's not like a widely known public vulnerability. I have a feeling though that the people that are really good kind of save some stuff in their back pockets for later years when maybe the heat isn't so. I'm not advocating piracy, but it's pretty much inevitable that most consoles get pirated to some extent. We haven't really seen it very widespread with either, like basically from the PS4 and on. And there is some stuff, but it's like you have to be on a specific firmware versions. It's not like an open the door, every version works, every firmware works jailbreak yet. So that's like I kind of was waiting for that to happen for at least for the PS4, but it makes sense because those are like in the original, the Xbox One. I guess I was kind of waiting for those to get hacked, but so I just have a feeling that there are vulnerabilities just out there, or people have them just waiting for the day when it's like, oh, next console is released and it's a different architecture. Like that has to be a big part of it too, because if they just announce PlayStation 6 and Xbox 1SS or something, or 1XS. I don't know, like whatever stupid name you can come up with after that. It's probably going to be compatible, backwards compatible, which makes it more difficult all the time to do this. So maybe that's part of their strategy. I don't know how valuable the backwards compat is from a defending. I don't know, just the people from pirating games. I think it doesn't take a lot of effort. Yeah, no, yeah. Hold on, let me get to this one first. I like Zwenergy and ManCloud's projects. Yeah. Yeah, the Wonder Swan consolizer. I have Wonder Swans waiting to go. I just have such a big, I don't know. I kind of wish I didn't have a YouTube channel some days, because I'm like, oh, I could just work on something and I don't have to tell anybody about it. It's hard because I do
have to make a video on everything.
But then I feel bad. I'm like, oh, I didn't record that in case the 1% chance or less than 1% chance that I ever want to cover it in the future. Well, what I'm kind of okay with is that some mods that I'm collecting will kind of age well. Like maybe I'll be able to reflect on them in the future, because I have something like I have the GC Dual, I have a GC Loader, the older ones, and I'm just kind of like all the mods that I can't get to right now. I just have them still. It's not like they're going, and I have the consoles. So if I don't get to them now, it's okay. I think people are okay with other people's content. If you want to watch exactly how to put in a mod or something, or somebody talk about it, at least the big projects that come out, there's going to be other people, Macho Nacho and other people that make videos about it, so it's going to be okay. But yeah, I don't know. I enjoy. I guess that is another reason why these other videos are taking so long. Is I'm trying to think about the entire video now. I don't really want to think of it in terms of, oh, I've just got to record me putting this mod together. I want to have some kind of a better review. It might not be perfect. It might not even be close to perfect, but at least it tries to answer a question. Like the question that I'm trying to answer with my Project Stellar video. And this is sort of a sneak peek. It's like, why did we need a Project Stellar when we had OpenZenium, right? Like maybe not super technically exactly why the difference is, but like how it appears now, like how it appears, the differences now between like not Project Stellar and having a console Project Stellar. So that's the goal. It's more than just do the mod, that way I feel like I have a little bit more rounded understanding just when somebody asks me, like, do this or that, and then I kind of got like more inspiration when Modsville did his Stellar video and it was negative for the most part. That kind of got my gears turning, because sometimes like I may not notice. Well, I don't try to dwell on like drama things that much. So I don't know, it's kind of hard, and I don't really have somebody to talk to, like, oh, I did a mod, did you do it? How did you like it? Like that's why I asked you about the Stellar that you did earlier. So that's just kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I just circling back to the Jailbreak for a second.
Oh yeah.
You mentioned like piracy a lot. I think there's a lot more to it than piracy. Especially, I think there's. I haven't messed around with jailbreaking a PS4 or obviously a 5 yet, but I know people have talked about like Bloodborne, where there's the patches that uncap the arbitrary, like I think 30 FPS that's in there by default. And I think there's another game that I.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, quality of life stuff. Sure. Yeah, I agree, and I'm sure that, to some extent, emulation stuff like.
For sure, because even though you can with the latest Xbox stuff, there's been weirdness with Microsoft. I think, right? Like, do they ban your Xbox or something?
No,
like they were doing some weird stuff for a while.
I think that was misreported. That you're talking about the
like if you
the emulator thing. Right. So that still works. They just banned retail mode, I think. So like
Gotcha.
there's a couple different ways that you can do it, and there was like a more recent one where you can run it directly from your retail. I don't know how they wall it off, but like I don't know that firmware retail land. But I think you can still use it in dev mode, something like that. I know what you're talking about. And then there was like it was like coincidental that Microsoft made that announcement or whatever, and then at the same time, like the Dolphin project, which is the GameCube emulator, kind of also shut down. Like, also was I don't remember. There was more to that story too, and I never really like. I'm not sure which stories that people care about in retro land, retro modding, but I hear about other things that are gaming related, and can't talk about everything. Yeah. All right, let's see. Leon's on the fence about ripping the OpenZenium out. So, Leon, I really wanted to go even further than I think how I'm going to make my video now. I've heard that different console versions of the original Xbox have different video output. And some are better than others. So I've heard that the 1.0, the original, it has the best analog output. So I wanted to revert I currently have in my possession that are technically mine. I have my friend's ones. That's the fourth one, but I'm not counting that because I'm not modding it. But I have 3 Xboxes. I don't know. Well, I know why. It's for videos. But the first one is my oldest one, which is the 1.0, which I ended up T-SOP flashing. And then I did the original Xbox HDMI, which was Megahertz's first digital to digital mod. So that was kind of a weird setup where it's like just the Xbox HDMI. I tried to convert that back without the you don't need an OpenZenium. My stupid battery is dead, so I'm gonna put it back on this. Sorry, I'm just trying to think. I tried to revert it back to analog because I wanted to compare the output from that 1.0, and I don't have the stupid little ferrite bead thing. Get a chunk of info like that is BS. Okay, so there's nothing. No, right, red herring. That's why I'm like, okay, I have red herring. I'm like, I wanted to kind of prove it or like look into it more, and I was pissed because I wanted to revert my 1.0 Xbox back to stock with an AV port. I talked to Dustin about. So it wasn't displaying any output, and he was telling me that I have the older version of the QSB that doesn't have the ferrite bead on it. There's a newer version. Like if I got the new QSB for the 1.0 for the new kit, like for Stellar HD Plus, Xbox HD Plus. The layout is different. Like there's newer versions of that little QSB thing, and the newer versions power the Xbox AV encoder or something like that, like the encoding chip through the QSB on the newer versions of that QSB. But I have an older one and it doesn't do that, so I got black. It didn't frag or anything. I didn't get an error trying to boot the console. I got just no video, and he was saying that ferrite bead, because that's a step that's required for a 1.0, is to remove this little component. It's like a little SMD component. But if you don't save that, you pretty much can never go back to analog video. And I'm not like trying to blame Dustin, because I just lost it. It's just gone. Yeah, so there's 3 chips. So like that's another aspect of my video I wanted to go over. The newer one has a regulator for the GPU reference rail. Okay. Yeah. So
why are you trying to revert that console instead of just buying another 1.0?
Oh, because it's like $100 or like 80.
The Xboxes are that much?
Around me, they are kind of are. I mean, I could eBay it, but it's gonna be about that for somebody selling one. Like I just bought. Yes. Well, so what I can see for sure is the difference between I have 2. The other 2 consoles that I have are my second console that I got, which I did the OpenZenium. So that's modded with OpenZenium. Well, yeah, I have the what the hell is the name of the firm of the BIOS that Make Megahertz used to not recommend. It's like is D something. I don't know. There's a certain older BIOS. Anyway, so that's modded with the basically from the instructions from the Xbox HD Plus. Then I have a third one, which was a stock 1.6. So I do have a console, a 1.6 that has analog output, and still I bought it to mod it for this video. So I have both the update kit and a new console kit. So I have two Project Stellars, but I ended up just upgrading the OpenZenium console. So instead of fresh installing, Xbox HD Plus, I just upgraded it with the little Stellar Link thing, and I put the Project Stellar chip in. And I want to leave the stock console for side-by-side comparisons, but I also want to do like I also want to do a comparison with SirBIOS. I'll tell you now that I don't know how. I hope that Dustin's not going to be upset because they've since, maybe I shouldn't even talk about this, but they banned talking about SirBIOS for what I think is sort of a fair reason in their Discord. Maybe it's a coincidence, but I don't care. Okay, so Repackinator, if you've ever heard about that. I'm not going to tell you exactly how to do it because I don't even know. I didn't even bother to look it up, but Dustin was telling me that there's some way in Repackinator that you can download games. I don't know how, but that was just what he learned, that somebody said that there's a hidden way that you can just download games from archive. Like it has some embedded way of pulling the games from archive and doing the formatting for you. I don't know how to do that, and please don't involve me with that, but that's the reason, and I think that's a pretty fit. That's the only reason I disclose that. Not like it's a secret, because I mean you can't talk about SirBIOS in his Discord. That's not a secret. But there's a reason, and maybe they talked about it in his Discord. But I want to know everyone to know that that's probably why you might see some stuff in the future. It doesn't really matter. I don't. It's not going to change the review because I don't know how much I'm going to get into talking about Repackinator stuff. But I just wanted to do the comparisons, right? The compression stuff from Project Stellar to the SirBIOS compression. That's all I cared about, because that's all I think most people care about, is how those two options compare to each other. Yeah, you might be right, Leon. Like, I noticed I was loading the XBMC dashboard. The XBMC XBMC for gamers. It's like this bright blue, like baby blue screen. So it's very easy to see if there's any noise in your video for some reason. So like the 1.6, the stock AV output is terrible. Like even if you had a Stellar modded console, it doesn't improve the I don't think it improves the AV. I thought it did, but then I looked at them side by side and like, this is terrible still, and it had a Project Stellar in it. So it's not. I thought it was going to be more closer, but with the Xbox, it's kind of. I think the digital is going to end up being better, but I still have to do more testing and stuff. That's why this video is taking a while. But, yeah, Yaki Yam. I think as a business, they kind of needed to. They just needed to not talk about it, but it's also to their advantage not to have people not talk about it, because it's kind of like competing BIOSes, at least, because Stellar OS is only so that's why there's a lot more to it too. It's kind of like an ecosystem, right? You don't actually. I think for Stellar Xbox HD Plus, it requires Project Stellar mod chip. You need it to run because there's that link. There's no other way to run that really. With the version 1 of Stellar, well, actually, you had to run that. Oh, M8 is what I was thinking of. The M8 BIOS. So you have to run a patched version of the M8 BIOS. So it's kind of, either way, you're kind of locked in if you want to use Xbox HD Plus. So that was the other thing that I wanted to reiterate in the video, where it's kind of like you're stuck in this not like a walled garden, but like a ecosystem. You need to use Stellar OS if you're doing the newer version, or you're locked to only that M8 BIOS. And I think that's one of the other reasons why like Modsville is upset, because if you are an Xbox person and you really like Xbox, and you go ahead and mod your like only console or your favorite console to be have a Stellar in it, a HDMI mod, then it almost locks it pretty much locks you out currently, because I don't know how. I think it was I know this is like a rant, not about this what's on the screen, but I'm just reading the chat. Doesn't Stellar require a 1.6 BIOS? Yes, but I would say that, well, okay. I'm trying. There's a lot. See, there's just a lot, and that's why I'm like every time I feel like I'm confident to say, okay, this is what my video is going to be about, and I get prepared to do everything, then I find out, oh, I really don't. I can't use my 1.0 console because it doesn't work without that ferrite bead, or it's just like these little roadblocks. So that's why I'm like, but there's a lot.
Just require whatever BIOS your system has by default, and it patches it.
No, so well, yes, that's Stellar OS is a reverse. As far as I know, it is an extension or like a tweaking of the stock BIOS. Which, as far as I know, obtaining a stock BIOS, you can obtain a stock BIOS legally. I suppose you'd have to rip your own, but obtaining it from the internet or something is probably illegal. So that act is why you can't say.
But it's a part of the Stellar install.
Yeah, it won't be in the future. I think it just has to do with how the files, like it might. I'm not sure 100%. I wish Dustin was here because that would be.
It's been a little bit, but I'm pretty sure I remember there's like a web UI that you use.
There is, yep. And you need a copy of the original BIOS.
Yeah.
But it's more than that though. I think. But the point is, so it's Stellar OS, and you have to use Stellar OS really, and that is that is built with the stock BIOS. So. That'll include the BIOS. I do think that Dustin mentioned that there will be in the future recompiles and relinks itself. Yeah, so it's using the binary. It's recompiling it. So how does it? I don't know. I'm a software programmer, but I don't do the types of that's my literal day job is development, but not this kind of like low level. Well, like firmware development. That's not what I do. So I don't know 100% of everything about it, but yeah, I feel like he's working on some kind of maybe certain consoles don't need the stock BIOS or something, or like the actual file, so you can really just kind of like, I don't know, it just puts Stellar OS on it. But that's the thing, you need Stellar OS. You can't not have it. And originally I think that there was a feature that he was going to allow other BIOSes. So I kind of learned, I mean, we can move on from Xbox stuff, but I think it's kind of fascinating because I learned from Dustin mentioned that like there's kind of 3 different types of mod chips. Really, they're bootloaders because their job is just to boot a custom BIOS. So there used to be, so I guess kind of like the TSOP is the most basic, is like the TSOP / I guess in the old days. I never did this or was aware of. Actually, maybe the Aladdin. This guy. So basically, just a simple chip, any kind of simple chip that just had a flash ROM on it, and you could load BIOSes directly from a chip. That's like the most basic version of a way to mod. It's through the LPC port still, but it's like you can only have one BIOS on this chip at a time, unless you flash it with XBlast, and then you can have 2. But a stock one only has one BIOS on it, at least this Aladdin chip. So then the next level up is like your OpenZenium. OpenZenium is like what do they call it? Just it's more of a bootloader in the sense of you can choose which BIOS you want to boot into. So it's kind of like a little mini, like a computer BIOS. Like it boots up before the BIOS boots, so it lets you change the BIOS that you want on the fly if you want to. So that's like the second. That's what OpenZenium is. And hey, Joe Ray 6. Thanks for calling me nerd. Eventually won't need to apply by. Okay, yeah, I thought that red herring that was the way it was going to. Okay, so we'll come back to the reverse engineering stuff, but Stellar is kind of beyond this, beyond like OpenZenium. It doesn't act like an OpenZenium because you can't load other BIOSes onto it, but in theory, maybe in the future you'll be able to when. So this all sounds like I'm complaining. Like oh, it's not ready yet or whatever, like it's not coming, like this is a lot of development for, I don't know how many other people are helping Dustin, but like Dustin is literally working on all this himself, like pretty much himself as far as I know. So it's like maybe I don't know, my brain being brainwashed into thinking that this is not more than it is. It's like, so he's trying to reverse engineer, or and when I say reverse engineer, I mean in simple terms, there's like a legal way, which is like black box, recreation of a thing, like without having any intimate knowledge of how that thing was built, like no source code of the original product. Like that's one thing. Like that's kind of how they had to do with the IBM clones, had to do with the IBM computers, because it was not, you couldn't just take the IBM source code even though it was available and remake it. You'd have to do it without any other help, basically, and then that is pretty much legal, having a legal BIOS if you handwrite it to work. So I don't know how big the actual stock Microsoft BIOS or kernel is. I don't know how complex it is. I'm sure it's not nothing, but in order to patch it, you need to essentially come up with the knowledge, the reverse engineering knowledge, and then tweak it and then recompile it and run it again. So let's see. You will eventually be able to boot other BIOS, but I don't see myself ever wanting to. There's benefit if another BIOS comes out with another feature, like right now. So you have to choose right now. You can't have both an HDMI mod or SirBIOS. You cannot have both. And a lot of people like SirBIOS, and that's the competing, unless there's some crazy like illegal thing about, well, so that's legal, is essentially not having any proprietary information. I think that's the word, right? Like having code owned by another company. So then there's like the illegal way where there's like they might have leaked files or something, and I'm sure those exist for this old Xbox BIOS stuff. So some projects are okay with just using those. I guess stolen is the proper term, but it's really just somebody could have leaked it, and then you found the leak, and like there you go. Now you're stealing, I guess, because you know how I don't know. It's kind of complicated. I personally I guess I don't care unless it's somebody's project and like somebody's trying to steal the project or something. I don't know. But like as far as old source code, doesn't really bother me. But that might bother some people, and that adds to like the fact that Dustin is trying to make a legal everything from Project Stellar as a bootloader, because apparently I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think that OpenZenium also is based off of proprietary code. The OpenZenium Zenium OS, whatever, the one that runs on the OpenZenium chip. I think that also, even though the hardware is open source, the software that runs on it is not. So it's kind of interesting how it's like, in my head, I kind of think that, okay, Dustin is doing this nice thing, adding a lot of cool features and HDMI support and things, but it's all like, it's like branching now. You're just going away like this way. You can't have both. If that makes sense, like you can't have any other new features from somebody else unless something drastically changes with how it's being handled. So as you can see, you could probably, some people might be upset. Like you can't have, if you wanted to use SirBIOS, even if it's illegal, and even if SirBIOS is not a legal legal BIOS, they might still want to use it just because, it's not that hard to have somebody be upset. But you can't. You have to choose one or the other. Well, really, you get nothing. You don't get any HDMI mod. Maybe the, I guess what you settle and you get the Xbox to HDMI adapter thing. I don't know, the external thing. Walled garden. I thought about calling it that, Sean Amy. But it's not like you're buying a subscription. I guess you're locked in the sense of you're locked in as fast as Dustin can work. That seems like it doesn't seem like he's not getting any more money from you. Oh God, I think like he got your money for the mod. Now just perpetually he has to work and finish all these things. I mean, yes, granted, he probably should not have advertised some things. I mean, I'm sure it's in the pipeline. Everything that he talked about is in a pipeline, but we're probably talking about a years long pipeline and not a couple of months, which was the initial sort of thing. So, assuming all the features get worked out, eventually it'll be fine. But right now, it's kind of an interesting situation. I don't know how it's gonna go. I know that people are kind of sour over it, but I don't know. It is what it is. I can't force Dustin to do something. He's probably got his laundry list of things that he wants to work on the actual mod chip. So I don't really know. I don't have a great way to package all of this up into a video, but that's what I'm trying to do, and that's why it's taking so long. It's because there's so much I could talk about.
I'm patient.
Yeah, there are a lot of.
I'm all down. Let the man do his work, and when it eventually is done, it'll be done, and
yeah,
it'll be good.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's. I guess the analogy I was probably gonna end up using is like Apple versus Android, right? Because on Android side, there are more than just the OpenZenium for bootloaders. You can flash XBlast onto the Aladdin chip that I've got. I've got an older one that is flashable, and I should do that. And that gives you two. You can put two BIOSes on here if you get the 1 meg flash ROM or flash whatever. I think Modsville has a video about how to do it. But then you need to buy expensive programmers and stuff. So that's why I don't want to do. Maybe I'll send this to Modsville and I'll have Modsville flash this for me because I have this part. I don't have the programmer because there's multiple chips. You have to program this lattice chip. I don't know if it's an FPGA or something, but there's this lattice chip, and then there's the actual ROM here.
You know what programmer you need to do it?
There's this specific lattice one for this one, which is like a JTAG. You solder to some of these fingers on some of these pads. But then this, you actually pop this out of the socket, the thing, and you put it in one of those like $70 or $80 dip chip flasher things. I don't have one of those. I should get one of those because those are kind of like, they're just helpful for doing a lot of things. Like I could have flashed my when I was doing the OMVS, I did the what is it called? The BIOS. There's so many things, dude. How does anybody keep track of all this stuff?
Unibios.
Yes, Unibios. Like, guys, enough. Stop making things for consoles.
You can also use them for Super Nintendo DIY cards.
Scepter Sever. I think I know what you're trying to say, but you know, I don't know how to feel about the situation where it's like, you know, people open these pre-orders and then people just take them as like it's just a normal consumer electronic that they're buying, when this is like specialist hobbyist bullshit. Like this guy's gonna work like at night for the next 10 years developing, all his free time he's gonna put into this, and you know, he's getting peanuts probably, or they're getting peanuts for making and developing and supporting this thing, and then people just get upset when things aren't working well. But you know, I think there is something to not being transparent. Not, you know, I don't think Dustin probably shouldn't have advertised everything. However, you do want to hype up your product, so it's a kind of a fine line between hype and how it's going to turn out when you don't supply your firmware or the features that people bought in the first place. But I guess the moral of the story is treat all the money that you put into retro like it's a Kickstarter and you'll never see it again. I mean, it sounds bad, but like that's just support a thing because you want to support the thing and not to collect, not to just to have it. I know I'm one to say that because I just buy all the things, but I don't know. I don't use any of my things. I use them for the purpose of occasionally I do. Like I've been actually into playing Xbox and stuff, and that's why it sucks right now because this is not connected. But use your things and support people that are making things for the consoles that you like and want to play, and don't go overboard. Nobody talks about not buying everything, so yeah, I know. I hope most people know what they're getting into, but sometimes, like, you know, I don't know, you just get people that don't understand. Yeah, well, Sean, that's why. So a big part of my video was going to try to compare the compressed ISO stuff. I could talk about that too, because I've learned some about that since, not like technically how it works, but like enough background where it might fill you in on some of the features that were announced by Stellar that aren't really there yet. Like the compressed, or that weren't there yet when it was released, like the ISO, uh, XISO, and CSO, which is the compressed ISO stuff. So all that stuff I was gonna try to include in the video to kind of make it like both a primer and a review, and it's just like I'm not making videos for views anymore. I'm just making it to like, because that's not gonna get views. Like me making that video is gonna get terrible views. But like it's just my opinion, and it's like a cool topic that I think doesn't have enough good enough content. It's a lot of like review stuff, but not a lot of digging into. Well, that's why I appreciate Modsville, even though he was negative about the Stellar mod chip. I know it comes from the heart. He really knows a lot about Xbox stuff, and to have someone like him be upset, mainly I suppose because he couldn't use other BIOSes or whatever. I'm sure there's other stuff, but like that's gotta suck, because now you're the best mod chip, or the most popular mod chip right now is that, and you can't even use it, and like I don't know. All right, do I have any other?
I have something related
Okay,
to
sure.
supporting projects that you like. Is you should also support the creators that you like. And I know Dubsenhauer
Yes,
has a Patreon if
I
you are
do.
interested in supporting him and
Yep.
his work. I do. Then you can go to patreon.com/Dubsenhauer.
Do it.
He won't support. He won't promote himself. So I will be the one to happily jump in and do it.
Thank
But
you. I appreciate it.
I'm a
Yeah, if you
fan. I
want to,
watch all
well,
of your
okay. So
videos.
so
So
oh,
I imagine other
okay.
people here do as well.
Oh, I don't remember who donated last stream, but I have a sort of a life, not a life update. It's not. This is not a big deal, but it's good for the channel, for me, for my channel. I don't have it yet. On Tuesday it comes. I bought a refurbished LG C2 43-inch, whatever that 40, the smallest one is. So I do have have an OLED coming to me, and I bought this ridiculous. I don't. Maybe I should return this, but I bought this ridiculous Ergotron stand. So I bought the TV for $670, which I thought was a great deal for an OLED, assuming that it's not a hunk of burned in trash already. Assuming it's probably not that. It's probably, maybe it's got a scratch or two or whatever, but I don't really care. As long as the front's not scratched and the screen looks good and there's no obvious burn in, which I don't think there would be in less than a year. You would have to try to burn that freaking console, that TV in a year. I think you'd have to be having it on 24/7 and purposely trying to mess like with 8 taskbars, just like trying to burn the taskbar in. But anyway, so I bought this Ergotron because it's a pretty. It's not even a monitor. It's what, 20 pounds, probably 20 pounds, this TV, and so I bought this like $300 Ergotron monitor arm for it to go behind where this monitor is back here. So I got one coming. I think it's nice segue. Yeah. So I got that. That's good. That's a win. I think that's something that I've wanted to talk. Well, so like for me, it was kind of like, okay, I guess the whole time it's really been, do I want to go down the road of PVMs, or am I okay with scalars? And for the most part, I've been okay with scalars until, and I really wanted just to have a PVM, just to say I had one, and just to know what it's like, because I've seen them before. I've seen Steve Retrotech US brought some to Retro World last year, and
You have a
he had one.
CRT, right?
I have an old Sylvania. I don't know if it's a rebrand. It's probably a rebranded something else, but it's fine. It's a flat tube. It's one of those newer, like early 2000s ones, because we got it around the time like Halo 2 was a thing, and like Xbox Live. So I have nostalgia for that CRT because it's when I played with Halo 2. But yeah, I don't know. Scalars has always been okay, and ever since that, it was kind of both Try's LG C2 review and when they live streamed. Oh, God, when they live streamed the CRT effects on Try's from the Retro 4K on Try's stream, or the My Life in Gaming stream. That really was like, I just gotta know. I just need to know if it's, I don't know, even if it's like a colossal money loss for me. It's just being able to say, I don't know, it's hard to describe, but being able to help people make better purchasing decisions. Like, do you really need? I guess it's more so because it's the 4K scalers, and we know that they're going to be expensive. Everybody, I kind of joke that I'm like, I got like cyber bullied into buying a LG OLED, but I didn't really. It's I wanted to get one. Just I don't know. It's just, I think that it will matter more now with the new stuff. That's why I've waited so long. And now it just happened to come up with a good deal. Somebody posted in my Discord, actually. It was like lifesaver. I was gonna buy a couple of weeks ago you could buy a new one still for like 900, a new C2 for 43 inch or whatever, and the C3s are still like 1300 or something for the smallest one. So
which model and size did you say you got again?
C2 43, whatever the smallest one.
Nice.
No, not the smallest one, because is there 40? I don't know.
I think it's 42, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't think there is Scepter. I think that the LG C ones, I think the G ones are more powerful. They output more. They're similar performance, but they're more expensive, but they get brighter. It's like that.
There's the QD OLEDs now. Those are new ones. I think they're Sony.
Until you get, I think there's still the ghosting around when the black light bleed or whatever, the bloom, whatever. So like it's still not like micro LEDs, right? Maybe it is. Maybe QD. I don't know this stupid TV lingo. Get that out of my head. Like it just doesn't make sense.
I knew the difference at one point, but I've forgotten.
Yeah, until you get the ones that have the micro LEDs that are like one LED on or off. I don't know if LED will ever get to OLED, but I don't know. I've never had one, so I can't really say. I shouldn't even said that, because maybe I'm lying. Maybe I've been lied to, and it'll be crap.
Getting an OLED's a game changer. They're awesome.
So, anyways, yes, if you'd like to support me, it is expensive, and I don't mean that like. I think I've given up trying to make money, right, off of this, because I could have gotten a job at McDonald's if I wanted to make money. Oh, I should do that. I should stop right now. I should hit done and go get a job, and like that would make more money than this. But I do it because there's still a hope that maybe in the future I'll be able. But it's like I enjoy it a lot. Like this is all I think about, and I'm stuck. So, but it's mostly to cover the cost of the mods and stuff for me to digest and then help other people to think about how to think about things, because that's another thing. I don't know, it's not really a review, because I don't think I'm not it is a review in the sense of it's my review, but I don't think I have the complete technical knowledge to be able to do a technical review on the level of like a Bob, but I can give you some stuff that I can test, because I have a lot of consoles and things. That was my goal of collecting all the old old mods and things and not ever selling them. I never sold a single. I sold one Super Nintendo Junior to Navigator Bowman, because I had a second one. I bought a second Super Nintendo Junior and RGB modded it for my YouTube channel. That was like the first mods I did. That was the only console I've ever sold that has been modded. So I think they're hiring. Yeah, right. I don't know. I didn't watch the end EM of the Vizio. That was what I was talking about earlier. I mentioned that Bob released that video today, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Like I didn't think I was gonna watch that video, but I thought it was kind of interesting to get his take about all the settings. Because when I watched Try review the C2/C1, just the amount of detail, I don't know. It's just like a lot, and like maybe it's because he knew, he's been staring at these menus probably forever, so he probably was able to write down all the different stuff, but like to go through every step, or like the pros and cons, and then to do lag tests to see if, does this feature add lag or does it not add lag, and like that's a lot of work, a lot of effort. So I never want to do that. It's a review TV. Maybe I'll review the C2, but it was meh.
Leon,
Yeah.
I also have a 50-inch Samsung, and it's a plasma. I don't know if yours is. I'm gonna guess, but I'm wondering
Plasma.
like I need to use this thing more. It
Hmm.
was my wife's. She got it before we met, so now it just like sits in our bedroom. We don't use it that much, but I'm like,
It's
oh,
just
this
a
is probably a great panel for doing some retro stuff with.
yeah. You should. I need to get a. Well, I was thinking about getting the. I hate. I'm sorry, Zach. I'm sorry, Zenergy, but why did you call it douche lag? I'm. You might as well just call it the clown emoji, clown emoji. As far as I'm concerned, because that I'm. I never really. I tried to hold my tongue, but that's not an easy name for me to be able to say. So, anyways, the douche lag adapter. It works a little bit differently than the time sleuth. The time sleuth sort of generates a signal that you can send to a TV, and then you use a receiver to that's built into it to kind of like get the delay between when it was sent and then when it comes back to the receiver. But the douche lag is sort of like integrates into a console with a cart. They need to port this kind of game, this program, into whatever console's ROM type. So like there needs to be one for Super Nintendo and NES and for all these different consoles, but it should, in theory, have more flexibility, the better ability to test lag both from the controller because it goes through a console, not just through the input and output of a scaler. So you might be able to compare like a wired controller, and you don't have to modify a controller either, as far as I know. I think there's something with the program, so that's like the ideal, not having to modify anything. I mean, you have to put it into your setup, but not having to modify anything and being able to get latency about all types of stuff. So like just to the TV, so you can do the TV latency, or you can do from the controller, like when you press a button to when it actually reacts in your TV, so you can get latency for controllers. Like that would be really. Um, I know, Sean. I know it's funny. I know it's just hard for somebody who has to say stuff. Um,
Is is it done? I'm looking at their GitHub right now. They have Gerbers. They have ROMs for Game Boy Advance, N64, Genesis, Super
yeah,
Nintendo,
there's
and
some.
Saturn.
Yeah, as far as I know, the hardware might be done. I don't know. I have to look back into it because he doesn't. Zenergy doesn't post hasn't posted hardware pics in a while, so I'll have to look into it more. Um, that's what I would think would be better, as far as more useful for what I do, because you could put it on anything, a Game Boy Advance console or handheld. Obviously, handheld's still the last thing that you can't really do. Actually, yeah, you could, right? Couldn't you douche lag onto your stupid console or your portable? I guess you could do that if you had a portable and you wanted to know the latency of a specific IPS screen or something. I don't know. It's interesting. I never thought of that. So you could do any screen, not just big screen. So that's interesting. But the time sleuth is better if you just want to quickly get a TV measurement because you don't really have to set it up for a specific console. So
The new Time Sleuth, I think they're per resolution. You can't have all three on there at once, which is a little annoying. But
well, you have to like flash it or something, load a resolution on there.
yeah, the Tang Nano port, you've when you flash the program to
Oh,
it, it's for a specific resolution. It's not.
gotcha.
I think the original has a dial where you can change it.
Interesting.
Yep,
And the parts are pretty much end of life for the some
I
of them,
think so.
not all
Yeah.
of them, but some of the parts are end of life for time sleuth. So that sucks. I can get. I asked Dan because I'm like, that'd be interesting to have a lag time sleuth, but and then I realized I couldn't get any parts. I'm like, I don't know. I think maybe the douche lag might be better for what I wanted to do. So okay, I think that's everything. I'm sure this could have gone better. I could have planned better. I like probably having more bigger topics than these tiny little topics, but this is more authentic to the modding news, I suppose. So, just kind of thinking about ideas for the future, what I actually want to do. Like for now, I'm just gonna keep going like this. I'm not gonna change things, but I do something is not. It's not right. Like I'm not something, not satisfied or not. Yeah. So I like streaming. That I know. And I like hanging out with Bonzo. I didn't even mention you once, other than the shout out in the beginning.
It's
We
all
talked
good.
about.
We'll figure it out.
I
I
Go
do
ahead.
have a non-retro segment after
Ooh.
you're
Okay.
done.
Let,
I
let
have
it
a
rip.
question. You were wanting to play some Starfield, and you
Mhm.
were looking to buy a graphics card.
Mhm.
Where have you landed with
Mm.
graphics cards?
Mm. It's not gonna happen right now. If I wanted to bare minimum it, like I haven't even. Well, I don't know. I now that I've thought about it a little bit more, I probably could just do Game Pass and buy it, play it through Game Pass, but not the cloud. I just it's not just that I have to buy a new graphics card. It's that I have to buy a new graphics card if I don't buy a new AMD graphics card because they have the bundle or you get the game or something if you buy a graphics card or something. If I buy a used graphics card, I have to also buy the game for $70. So that's a big part of this equation too. I don't know if I just want to play it on Game Pass. That's one of those. Oh, hey, thanks, Eric Fleenor.
Yeah, thank you, Eric. There's
That's
a way where you can
helpful.
scheme Game Pass where you get like 3 years for a hundred
Steam game.
bucks.
Yeah, yep. I have a new account, or my account's not. I don't know. So, but that's beside the point. So, like, I have a 1070 GTX 1070 in my computer here, which is pretty old. I mean, that's from what 2018, something like that. And that's 5 years. Like, it's pretty old. But so I recently bought a 6700 XT, the AMD. It was like $300 or something, 350. I bought it for the computer in the basement that my son plays games on. So that's like equivalent-ish, but it's a lot newer. It's like 2 or 3 generations newer, but it's equivalent, I would say, in performance to the 1070-ish. So I probably could be fine on 1080p, but like that's the minimum requirement, I think, is that card. So I could swap the cards, but I like having the AMD. I like having the NVENC encoding for OBS. I don't know how new AMD codecs are for OBS, so I kind of don't want to be stuck in. It runs better on AMD. Well, for now, Sean, I mean, until they do DSS. What is it called? The upscaling. The NVIDIA one, DLSS.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that one.
There you go.
There's so many. Isn't that interesting? How I never really heard about upscaling computer games until like around this like upscale. Like I knew about upscaling retro games before upscaling computer games was the thing. Like that's crazy. And actually made me think. I wonder if we'll ever get to a spot where somehow there's better algorithms for upscaling. I don't know. Like, is that a thing? Like, is it possible to get better? I'm sure it is. It's just an algorithm, right?
I thought it was just some I thought it was some AI.
Yeah, it's like AI
it's like,
upscaling. So how they kind of must do it is they must take the game assets and they put it through just generating just a giant data set of all the game assets, and then they can use that to more like with this. I mean, it's AI in the sense of it's just throwing it into a machine learning algorithm and spitting it out. So they train on the game, and that's what your driver updates help you get better performance with those things, because they, maybe they refine the data set or something just to make it look better. But there's also bad. When I started playing, what was it? Jedi Survivor, the new one for PS5. That game had terrible upscaling. Like you could see ghosting around people. It was like very noticeably terrible. And maybe I haven't played that game since I beat it when I first got it, but yeah, so it's just weird. It's like, is there a better algorithm for retro? Wouldn't that be cool if you could like pipe your retro games into this even better, like $1,000 FPGA? Like we're all on what, $10 FPGAs and whatever the morph is gonna be, however much the morph is gonna cost. But I don't know.
It'll clean up composite for you.
That's actually, somebody else has mentioned that, like sending it through your graphics card, like connecting your retro console to your NVIDIA graphics card or something like that, and then upscaling it, and then outputting it again. But that's just a lot. I don't know. That's kind of interesting how we get new features rolled into these upscalers. It's just really implementing an algorithm. I don't think we're at the point yet where machine learning is involved with retro, but that's why things like the motion adaptive deinterlacing, I'm sure that's just an algorithm that somebody applies. Like, it's not a AI algorithm, but you have to do the work to implement it. Like, I don't think it's like well, I don't know what language they're programming these scalers in. I'm assuming it's probably C for Mike Chee's case. But the thing about programming is, and you know this, there's like libraries. You can just, somebody else might have already written a whole way to do motion adaptive deinterlacing. You pipe in a video frame and it tells you, yep, this, that, the other thing, and it pumps it out on the other side. Just a matter of either pulling in the library or re-implementing it yourself or something. So from an armchair perspective, it doesn't seem like that's that difficult to add some of these features. That's why when Mike mentioned that there was some newer algorithm for deinterlacing DVDs, or no, it sounded like it was like deinterlacing laser discs would get the most benefit from this algorithm that he just implemented. But like, that's a completely useless thing. Other than that, it was just an algorithm that somebody came up with, and then Mike has taken the time to add it to this. Like, interesting. Parallel computing, yeah. Always need $1,000 GPU, right? It's just so that's the other thing that really keeps me going about everything in retro, is it's actually a lot about technology. It really has less and less every day to do with retro anything. Replacement motherboards, replacement cases, replacement or upscalers, brand new cables that didn't even exist. Like, no one thought about, well, adding RGB output. Like, I don't think that was really a consideration when people first were gaming. So they look nothing really like your original experience, and I guess that's probably why Red Herring and other people feel so disgusted sometimes by people that are throwing FPGA replacements into things. But I just enjoy the technology, so I think it's really cool to see how far we've come. Well, the thing about the VHS is, I guess the quality is not as good as Laserdisc. So.
Yeah, speaking of laser discs and VHS, if you haven't watched Bob's latest interview with the Doomsday Duplicator folks, I thought that was pretty fascinating.
Huh, I'll have to watch. I'll have to look into that. It's cool.
Yep.
All right, that's really all I got. Thanks everybody for watching. Yeah, keep in mind, if you ever want me to talk about something, if it's a topic or whatever, I can't answer. I probably won't be able to answer every person's question. I don't know. Maybe we should start. We could start like a Q&A thing, but I mean, anybody pretty much at any time can Q&A in my Discord, and other people or me will answer. So that's why I've always hesitated to like add that as a bonus for something, because it's like, just until I, maybe in the future I'll reach critical mass and I gotta like actually not, because I saw that like something that I'm subscribed to in a completely different genre, like they make RC car videos. They posted like, please stop DMing me, or like this is, he's like, it was telling his audience to not ask him questions. I mean, I understand if you have enough people, you literally cannot. There's not enough time in the day to answer everyone's questions, but I'm not there yet. That's funny.
We have a hashtag.
Douchelag. Hashtag retro money news. No, I don't know. That's probably fine, right? Hashtag retro RMNQA. No, that's Retro Money News QA.
Ask RMN?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, I like this. Ask RMN. Retro Money News. Live? Are we just calling this RMNL? That's Raffle. ROFL. RMN. That is just, okay, sure. If you want to do that, you can do that.
That's hard.
Copy that. Okay. All right. Thanks, everyone. Again, I'll have another video. Working on videos all the time, pretty much. Just setbacks, this bunch of them for both the gem and whatever. But I'll also have this month's modding video and retro Q&A. Yeah. I don't know. Just tweet it. Just at me. Yep. Thanks everybody. We'll see you probably next month.
Take care. Thanks for coming.